Hey, welcome to our Saturday training Solveres meeting. Everyone that's in here, we're going to admit Bo. Mark is joining us remotely. He's not going to be speaking today, but Cami Baker has a very powerful presentation to make today and a lot of information to go down as we've all been expecting this week. So we're going to skip the networking portion of our meeting and go ahead and just cut straight to Cami so she can get started. Welcome, Cami.
Well, thank you, Micah, and thank you all for being so interested in knowing how we can make money and make a difference at the same time. The reason that Alan, my fiance and VP of my company, and I decided to really get in with both feet with this company is because you are wanting to do something to help nonprofits. You already have a real estate program and just entrepreneurs in general, right? Social responsibility. Social responsibility isn't just the right thing to do. It is the way to build business these days. Only if you want to attract 87% of your marketplace, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what state, city, whatever, people want to do business with those that are socially responsible. So I'm going to share the screen and go through a 25 or so minute PowerPoint with you talking about the biggest, baddest, boldest, badassest social responsibility campaign that brings real estate and nonprofit together so that we can all make money making a difference. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. The real agents of change, The Rock, as we have become known, and Solveres, we are bringing to you how to create a purpose-driven career listing real estate donations. Now, keep in mind that when we first started this whole charitable gifting of real estate company, we were really focused on realtors only. But over the last 2 years, we have certainly learned that it's not just realtors. It's the nonprofits themselves. It is the financial advisors. It's the fundraising professionals. It's every for-profit and nonprofit able to come together. So we call these legacy listings because every donation of real estate has got to be listed and sold in order for the nonprofits to get the cash. So that's why we call it listing real estate. But just want to preface that if you're not a realtor, that's okay. You can make money making a difference too. So we're going to go over 3 basic concepts. Why this is so purposeful and profitable. What is this? What is donated real estate and why have you never heard of it? And why are property owners trying to donate their property? And how you can be the go-to specialist no matter what industry or market that you're in. So let's talk about the purpose part of it to begin with. I'm going to share about 5 minutes of my story as to what brings us here today and how this whole thing actually got started. So this is a picture, oh gosh, about 20 years old. And that red suit is the suit that started my real estate career. In this image, I was about 2 years sober. So I was a single mother. I was newly sober. I answered an ad in the newspaper for a listing agent that did about 125 deals a year. And I got that job as a listing coordinator, and I did more real estate in a year and a half of just being that gentleman's assistant than most realtors I've met over the last 20 years. But that image just kind of starts us on our journey of what we're talking about today. And that same day, I took this picture with my daughter, who is now 23 years old. She's a big part of the story because when I got my real estate license about a year and a half into being that gentleman's assistant, I got my own real estate license because I could see that a real estate career would give me freedom to be able to bring my daughter with me to work, to be able to go to her field trips, to spend time with her as she was growing up, and to be able to set my own hours. That was really important to me. So over the years, I became a RE/MAX agent in the very beginning. I have held my license with just about every major brand, but we did a lot with that balloon. I was really creative in bringing the balloon to our area, getting media, getting coverage. And because of that, this was at the Boys and Girls Club. Because of that balloon, I started to step into doing some social responsibility. We had the ability to bring it to any big event that we could prove to RE/MAX it was going to actually make them look good. So over the years, I also did TV shows. When I was with Century 21, I did the Real Estate Road Show, very creative with marketing and branding. I did HGTV, 2 shows, as a matter of fact, way back when you had to mail in the actual tape in an envelope to the producer, way before you could just send it via email. But HGTV House Hunters, we promoted that show when we were doing our car shows. And I'm sharing these car shows. As you can see, it's the same location, but a different outfit. We did it for 7 years in a row. And when I was doing the car show, from the very first one, all the cars that showed up, we got 50 cars for our first car show, and every one of them had a $20 bill in their hand. They wanted to register, and I had never done a car show. I was completely ignorant. I didn't really know what to do. I just wanted to help the community. I wanted to meet a lot of people. And when 50 cars showed up, all of them trying to give us $20, but we had no system for that. We didn't take their money. I got to thinking, that's $1,000. And I'm doing the car show to promote myself and be seen and be heard. But there's a lot of nonprofits out there that could use $1,000. So what happened was, over the next 7 years, we started picking nonprofits to work with, and we started giving all the money from the car show. And it just happened by guerrilla marketing and determination and hunger and drive, that while I was out promoting myself as a real estate agent, I was promoting the car show, and the fact that we were giving the money to nonprofits. And friends, when I also got into network marketing, I was an RVP with a major network marketing company. And whether I was in real estate or whether I was in the network marketing, when I would go out and talk to people about the car show, we're looking for cars, we're looking for businesses that want to set up a table, we're looking for people who love cars, we're looking for people who want to help the horses and the veterans and the kids with cancer and all that type of thing. I just learned how important social responsibility is. And so I started teaching it. The woman in the center here is Karen. She was the president of the Board of Realtors in that state. She hired me to start helping do more social responsibility. This was a diaper drive we did. We raised up 8,000 diapers over a 30-day period. This was a drive with the woman in the red sweater was my Botox doctor. And she wanted more business. So I helped her. We put together this gathering up things around Christmas time. This was with the Jacksonville RIA group, the Real Estate Investor Association. They wanted to fly me down from New Hampshire to speak. And I said, only if I can practice what I preach. What is a nonprofit you want to play with? And let's do something. So you'll see in the back on that table, we had a bunch of coats. We did a coat drive, even in Jacksonville, Florida. And then I was handing out my first book to them. So what I'm sharing with you is many years of understanding social responsibility and doing event after event after event. We helped to create Realtors for Recovery. We did things for Habitat for Humanity. We helped homeless shelters. We did stuff for animal shelters. We did poker runs for addiction and heroes. We were packing these boxes to send overseas. So friends, it was all this real estate and nonprofit experience that led to 3 years ago when I learned about charitable gifting of real estate. And when I learned about that, and immediately I thought, there are 2 million realtors. What if we certify 1% of them to bring this back to their community? So instead of taking money out of our pockets to give to the nonprofit, we can teach them how to put money in their pocket and give hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to the nonprofits for doing it. So this is what we're doing now. This is a real estate agent in Florida who really got what we're doing. The tall woman on the left is the executive director of a nonprofit. This is how it works, friends. It's a conversation and a handshake and sitting down and answering a few questions. And the next thing you know, you're posing for a picture that's going to be in a book. And it is in the book. As a matter of fact, you see the book behind me, How Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. That photo went into the book, and it also went into the local newspaper, which has actually led to us doing work with Goodwill and Easter Seals. So we're traveling the country in our RV, and that's a 5-foot image of the book there. On the back of the rig, it says, donate real estate. You choose the charity, we'll do the rest. We have List the Legacy Listing Month in April. It's a public awareness campaign to let nonprofits know you do not have to beg, borrow, and steal. You don't have to try to get cash. You guys are going to learn during this presentation why you've never heard of this and how you can actually bring it to your marketplace and actually make money making a difference. You can get a copy of the book if you want, and actually we'll talk about that at the end. But let's jump into, remember, right now we're talking about the purpose of how charitable gifting of real estate is so important. It's because all of these boxes are a different kind of nonprofit. Our communities need us now more than ever. They need us. Now, check out these numbers. Friends, there are 1.5 million nonprofits in this country. And I'm just putting out some different states, numbers of nonprofits. This is how many nonprofits. We're in Florida, 160,000 nonprofits. So if you look at the reference down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see how you can go to that link and you can see how many nonprofits are in your state, in your county, in your city, just showing you there are a lot. 499 nonprofits per county on average in this country. That is why this is so profitable, because all of them need us. And I'm going to show you how we can help them. This is an example of a donation of real estate that happened in 2021. This building was in Rhode Island. It was donated to the Martin Luther King community. So when people think, oh, this is about, property that people can't get rid of. It's about dog property. It's about a gas station out Route 66 somewhere, and they can't get rid of it, so they might as well offload it to the nonprofit world. No, it is not about that. As a matter of fact, it is the opposite of that, and you'll see that as we go along. So let's talk about the profit part of it. What would your causes and communities do with $550,000? Now, I want you to kind of sit with that for just a second. Think about the animal shelter you love, the veterans group, the church, the university, the public radio station. All of these nonprofits are doing GoFundMe accounts and doing raffles and golf tournaments and car shows and trying to get people to donate $50. What would they do with over $500,000? Now, why do we ask that number? Because that is the average amount from one piece of real estate. Actually, that number has now gone up to 600,000 as per our experts in the field. We need to change that number. But what would they do with that kind of money? Now, I want to put some more numbers behind this simply because we're talking about the profit side. These numbers are specific to Florida, but they paint the picture, and you can do the math for your own state, your own county, your own town. Now, in Florida, there's an average of 2,400 nonprofits per county. So 10% of that would be 240, but I want to be really, really conservative with the numbers that we're talking about here. What if 1% of the nonprofits in Florida were to get a donation of real estate? Just 1% of them. 24 nonprofits getting an average of 550,000. Now keep in mind, it could have been 100,000, but it could have been 5 million. But if you do the average, that is $13,200,000 going into your community, your marketplace, your area. Now, this next number is focused on real estate agents, but I want you to think about it from your perspective. If 87% of your marketplace wanted to hire you as an insurance broker, as an attorney, as a dog walker, as a coffee shop owner, as a network marketer, here's what this looks like. Now, when a piece of property is donated, the only way to get this cash to the nonprofit world is to sell it. We call them legacy listings. It is a real estate listing, just like any and all you've ever seen. Only now it leaves legacy for the nonprofit, for the donor, and for the realtor. So what if the real estate agent in that county were to have been able to list those 24 properties? Now, please keep in mind that this is not list price. So if you're in California or Texas or Florida and you say, well, Cami, I don't want to list $550,000 properties. That's a tear down. Our lots cost more than that. No, the $550,000 is the equity from the property that is donated from the sale. If it's in California, it might be something like this. This is a $7.5 million home. You can see the names. You can see the dates. This is current. This is happening right now. These are the kinds of properties that get donated to the nonprofit world. Why? Because donors who have acquired multiple pieces of property, or even sometimes just simply their primary residence, they want to help. They want to leave legacy. They do this because it makes them feel good. Now, there are tax benefits, and we're going to get into that in just a minute, but this house is donated because this seller, owner, donator cares about her community. Now, we just went through the why this is purposeful and profitable, okay? Now we're going to get into the what. What the heck is donated real estate? So I'm just going to give you a few numbers. We want to invite you to sit in on the Charitable Real Estate Masterclass. We are currently doing it live on Zoom on the 1st and the 3rd Tuesday of the month. I'll tell you more about that. Alan, if you want to put it in the chat, the link to be able to sign up for the masterclass. Friends, it's free. It's free to come learn. We want you to understand this. So $9 billion a year with a B, $9 billion a year is donated to nonprofits through gifts of real estate. With that average that we talked about, 550,000 on average, 99% of donations need a realtor. Also, 99% of nonprofits need to even know that they can benefit from real estate. And that is why the Real Agents of Change was born, the Rock was born, and that's why taking legacy listings is a no-brainer for the nonprofits, for the realtors, and for everyone else. So if this has been going on since 1917, this is a US-based tax law. 1917, the government said, hey, if you will donate, in our case, real estate, to a 501c3, you get tax benefits you can't get any other way. So as shocked as this woman looks on the screen, you might be thinking, huh? It's been around for 100 years, $9 billion a year already. 43% of our wealth is held in real estate, and all these nonprofits have their hand out for the 3% of cash. If all of this has been happening, why have you never heard of it before? Why have realtors not been taught this? Why haven't just good old-fashioned small businesses and nonprofits been educated about this? Why have they been struggling so much for 100 years when all of this funding is available? Well, here's the reason why. There are three ways that a nonprofit can benefit from real estate. There are three ways that a property owner can give the proceeds to the nonprofit world. And here's the problem. Most people only know about the worst way and the hardest way, which we're going to be explaining to you right now. And now what we are going to be showing you is the win-win-win way, the way that takes all the risk and responsibility off of the nonprofits and gives them the ability to simply say thank you for the money. So here we go. These are the three ways. So the first way is a way that you might already be thinking, well, why not just sell my property? Why wouldn't someone just sell their property and give the proceeds to the nonprofit world? Well, in fact, this is what happens the most often. This is old-fashioned. It is outdated. The donor pays capital gains if, in fact, that is part of their situation, and the majority of the time it is. The nonprofit receives the least amount of the donation because when Uncle Sam gets their part of this, the nonprofit gets the least amount of money, the donor gets the least amount of tax advantages. And this is just flat out the most inefficient, ineffective way to do this. This is why it is the worst way. You know, so many things have changed. We don't get around in a horse and buggy anymore either, because technology changes how we do things. We don't have to go to a dictionary to look up a word anymore. We look on our phone or in our computer. So some things are just outdated. We just don't know what the updated version is. Now, the second way, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, so why don't they just give the property to their church or to the veterans group or to the animal shelter? Here's why. 99.9% of nonprofits will not take real estate. The nonprofit would be required to pay off the mortgage. If the donor wants cash out, we use an example all the time of just $1 million piece of property just to keep numbers simple. What if the nonprofit is in Washington State and the donor lives in Texas and they have a second home in Florida? It's $1 million condo and it's got a $200,000 mortgage on it. And the donor says, you know, I love the nonprofit in Washington State. I don't love them that much. I'd like to get $200,000 cash in my pocket to put little Billy through college. In this example, that nonprofit, if they were to take title to this property, would have to pay off a $200,000 mortgage and come up with $200,000 cash to give that donor. They're not going to do it. The nonprofit would also be responsible. Now they've got title to this house in Florida that has really high interest and really high insurance. And what if a hurricane comes through and demolishes it? Friends, nonprofits are so risk adverse. If you offer them $500 cash or the deed to that property in Florida that's got more than $500,000 in equity, they will take the cash 99.9% of the time. It is just a fact. You can look it up yourself. We're happy to show you why this is. And we go over this even more in the master class. We give you real life examples of all of this. This is simply the hardest way. Now, having said that, you'll notice I've been saying 99.9%, which means that there are some nonprofits that do take real estate. So let me just bring these up on the screen. I want to show you, sure, there are some nonprofits that take real estate. All of these. Now, Cami Baker, why would you be showing us nonprofits that take real estate? Aren't you trying to talk to us about how you can help them take real estate? Well, yes, but here's my point. We're going to use Cars for Kids as an example. You might know any of these, but Cars for Kids, most people know. They also take real estate. And if the donor wants a tax deduction only, if you Google right this red hot minute, donations of real estate, how to donate real estate, charitable giving of real estate, you'll see these organizations. And if the donor just wants a tax deduction, any one of them will do. But what we're suggesting is, what about the 99.9% that don't have a real estate team, that don't have millions of dollars in backing to pay off mortgages and take on responsibility? What about your church, your veterans group, your soup kitchen that you're giving 10% of your commission and buying $50 raffle tickets for? What about them? See, here's the deal. Every one of those nonprofits, the donors on that donor list are on other nonprofits' donor list. The donors in your church, you don't know who it is. There's someone in that church that's Googling how to get a better tax write-off before the end of the year. How can I donate real estate? And when they find one of these groups, your church just lost on average $550,000. This just came up, oh gosh, less than 30 days ago, $15 million actual country club. This particular nonprofit actually took possession of it, and they now have a $15 million country club. So some nonprofits can accept, some of them have the system in place, but 99.9% do not. So how can you be the go-to specialist and able to not just help the nonprofits, but help yourself, help your own friends and family and children, okay? So last year, $129 million from one couple to the nonprofit world. Now, if you're an insurance provider, if you're an attorney, if you are a network marketer, any industry you're in, if you were the one that brought the awareness that this is possible to the nonprofits in your marketplace, whether that's local, regional, national, wherever you want to do business, if you're the hero that brings this to your community, can you start to see why this would give you exposure, why it would attract for you people that would want to do business with you? Now, here is the third way, the win-win-win way, the way that we are suggesting, because please be clear, we are not suggesting that any of your churches or soup kitchens start to accept real estate. It is complicated, it is risky, it takes months and months for people who don't know what they're doing to make it happen. And that, my friend, is not convenient for the donor, but this is. So here is why nonprofits and property owners need your help. The third way, the real agents of change, you can work through us and our team of experts to make this risk-free. I'm going to do every bullet point kind of slow. Risk-free. The nonprofit you love never takes title to the property. Therefore, it is risk-free for them. They don't even need to know the address. There is no out-of-pocket expense. So I'm going to talk about your church for a minute. What would your church do with $550,000? Because that example that I gave about the condo in Florida, with $400,000 worth of burden, $200,000 for a mortgage, the donor wants $200,000 cash. When that $400,000 comes out of pocket and then that property is sold after expenses, there's about $550,000 from that donation. And if your church doesn't have to come out of pocket that $400,000, they can benefit from that gift. Capital is available to enhance the value of the property. So we have partnered with a specialized nonprofit. They are the nonprofit for all nonprofits. If your church's mission is to bring faith to your community, if the homeless shelter's mission is to help the homeless in your community, if the veteran group's mission is to help the veterans, this nonprofit that we work with, their only mission is to accept gifts of real estate on behalf of any nonprofit, fix it up if it needs to be fixed up, list it on the market with a local real estate professional at a full commission, sell it, and give the proceeds to the nonprofit world. It is that simple. Bargain sale. When you come to the master class, you'll learn more about what that is. But if keys and deed are handed over, it's a donation. If any money exchanges hands for any reason, it's called a bargain sale. We go into it in detail in the master class. The donor, the way that this works, the donor is able to get their tax benefit, get their name off the deed. They can actually get a charitable deduction in less than 30 days. And I'll explain a story about this for you at the very end. The nonprofit world gets the maximum donation. The donor gets the maximum tax benefits. The realtor gets the maximum listing commission, and the whole community is able to benefit. And guess what? 100% of nonprofits qualify for this, because even those that do take real estate, even they can't handle bigger, more complicated processes, but our team can. So here are some of the reasons that this is a win-win-win for nonprofits. This first gentleman, Dr. Russell James, wrote the foreword for our book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. He and his team have proven that nonprofits who accept non-cash assets over nonprofits who only accept cash can grow at 6 times what they will if they only accept cash. We have that report. Just ask me. Donors can and will give 3 to 7 times more when it's not just cash. The Nature Conservancy was the first logo that came up on that screen of nonprofits that accept real estate. They have proven that when people are asset rich and cash conservative, they will leverage their asset to give smarter. No additional donors are needed. Friends, this is so important. This isn't about the nonprofit finding some fictitious unicorn of a human being out there that wants to donate real estate. The donor of the real estate, first and foremost, is sitting in the pew at church, is coming and volunteering in the soup kitchen on Thanksgiving, is already giving them sometimes $10,000, $50,000, sometimes only $25 a year. We have a story about a woman who was giving $25 a year for 32 years to a huge nonprofit. She heard the team talk and she had a property to donate. And you never would have pegged Linda at $25 a year as a donor of real estate, but we don't know what's on people's heart. So we talk to the donors first. Now, here's reasons why it's a win-win-win for the donors. No capital gains tax. They can write off the appraised value of the property as the basis for their tax deduction. That is why when they donate it, before it is liquidated, they get more of a tax deduction. They can give smarter. Friends, this nation, you could Google how much wealth is held in real estate. You'll see this number. 43% of our wealth as a nation is held in real estate, and less than 3%, 2.7% actually, as per Dr. Russell James, is held in cash. Why are all the nonprofits asking donors for cash? Because they're scared to death of real estate. But we can make it so simple for them. And ultimately, 80% of people who donate the way that we do it Now, if they're just Googling, how do I get a tax deduction, and they find Cars for Kids or one of those others, then they're doing it solely for the tax deduction. But the people that we like to work with are doing this for heart-centered, altruistic reasons. They're doing it because they want to leave legacy. And for our real estate friends, guaranteed full commission. And this is for everyone. Attracting 87% of our marketplace is business people. And when we can make money for making a difference, not take $100 or $500 or $5,000 out of our pocket, not just buying the raffle items that you can put on the table so that the nonprofit sells more raffle tickets, not just going to the barbecue or the bake sale and buying the 50-cent cookies. Friends, when you can make money by giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to the nonprofit world, that is legacy. That is when business and personal comes together, and it's so yummy. So these are some examples of nonprofits that have benefited from the way that we do it. So take this in. We've got another screen full too. I want to point out Fidelity Charitables at the top, because of those 1.5 million nonprofits, Fidelity Charitables is the cherry right on top. They are the largest nonprofit in this country. And even they don't want to do their own real estate transactions. Even they don't have a real estate department per se. They leverage the same team we do. And if it's good enough for Fidelity Charitables, it's good enough for us. And when you meet what the specialized nonprofit, as we call them, you'll learn a lot more about them as you play with us. You're welcome to reach out to them, but it's kind of a carrot that we dangle until you come to the master class. We don't want people overriding their emails and phone, trying to ask questions that get answered in the class. They helped us put the class together. They have done donations of real estate transactions facilitated. So Habitat for Humanity, United Way, ALS Association, churches, universities, public radio, community foundations. See, these are in the 99.9% of nonprofits that don't take their own real estate, but that are smart enough to actually leverage a team that they don't have to pay out of pocket. Now, what's next? Now that you know this, what's next for you? How can you do something powerful and take action? You can become the go-to specialist, certified charitable real estate specialist. Now, when we started all of this 2 years ago, it was only for real estate agents. But over the last 2 years, we've watched our class that we've done for 24 months. And now we see that 50% of the class are realtors and 50% of the class are the nonprofits, fundraising professionals, attorneys, financial advisors. Friends, 65% of these donations happen through a financial service person. We talk about that a lot more in our program. You can be the specialist for all nonprofits in your market, for all high net worth people who want to know about this, who need to know about it, who are grateful, who will use whatever service you have because you brought this to their attention. For all generous multiple property owners who deserve to know. Some of these people will donate this red hot minute because they need a tax deduction before the end of this year. Some of them will plan to do it in a year. Some of them will plan to do it in 3 years, but you brought it to the table. They're going to do business with you. So be the Solveres IBO that is bringing this to your marketplace. Be seen and respected as socially responsible. Show up on social media as the person that actually cares about your causes and communities. Attract those generous property owners in 87% of your marketplace. Friends, this is so important CPAs need to understand this. CPAs, financial professionals, they know that a donation of real estate is a good tax deduction. They've just never met a nonprofit that would take the donation. Now we can bridge that gap for them. And think about the nonprofits themselves. Holy cow. Hundreds of employees and staff, thousands of followers and supporters, tens of thousands of people that are donating to them. When all of those people help in your local Boys and Girls Club or church or veteran group, Habitat for Humanity, when they know that you brought this to them, I don't know, sounds to me like pretty good business development to me. So why would all those people work with you? Because you're the charitable real estate specialist who is helping property owners give smarter, helping to facilitate these transactions, and helping your communities to leverage real estate for real change. Now, here's one case study that drives this home, and we're going to wrap it up. Berkeley Humane Society. December of 2021, middle of December, call comes in. Gentleman has raw land, 12 lots. He says to our specialist, special nonprofit, hey, I need a tax deduction by the end of this year. It was December 15th. And because they're professional at what they do, because they can evaluate property very quickly, because they have cash on hand and can take a donation easily, within 10 days, they took title to the property, giving him the tax deduction that he wanted. Now, property goes on the market. It doesn't close until April this year. And the donation amount was $406,000 to the Berkeley Humane Society. Now, our specialized nonprofit called Berkeley Humane Society before this check came out back in January. They called them up and said, hey, we want you to know you're going to be getting a check here in the next couple of months for $400,000 plus or minus. We want to prepare you for that because most nonprofits need to know. They need to have board meetings and decide what they're going to do with that kind of money. So that nonprofit said, we're getting how much for what? So they reached out to their donor list and they said, friends, we don't know how this works. We don't have a clue. We've never heard of it before, but one of our supporters just donated real estate. We're going to get $400,000. So we're just throwing it out there. If anybody has any real estate, we see it happening. Woman raises her hand. She says, I've got a property at a 55 and older community. My mother left it to me. I will never live there. I've got plenty of money. I don't need the property. I love what you're doing. Yeah, you can have it. So August, just about 3 weeks ago, that property closed and $646,000 more dollars went to that nonprofit. Here's the moral of the story. One nonprofit, 2 donations from 2 donors, 6 months, $1,052,000. This isn't pie in the sky. This isn't, we think this is how it's going to work. This is an actual case study that just happened. So why would any of the people in your community work with anyone else when you're the one that has this unique skill, ability, and desire to be the solution? So to become a charitable real estate specialist, this is what it looks like. You get your certificate, you're a CCRES. To do that and to be featured on our national database, you just become a specialist. So real quick, I'm going to show you, let me stop this screen for a minute. I'm going to show you our website. So if you go to therock.com, and Alan's going to put that in the chat, therock, RAOC.com/store, and get here to the specialist. If you click on specialist, learn more, you'll see the certificate. You'll see that you get 3 hours a month with the specialized nonprofit to pick their brain, ask them questions, go over specific deals that you got going on. You can get put on this map. All you got to do is click right here where it says, I'm ready to take action. It's $400 for an annual, to be a charitable real estate specialist certified for a year. That is an annual thing. It is just like any other certification that real estate agents have, or that personal trainers have, or that fundraisers have. It's a certification. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now, let me go back over and finish the presentation. Because even though we're not giving you a $50 off or something like that, here's what we do want to give you. We want to make sure that you get the masterclass online portal as part of being a specialist. So the masterclass is live the first and the third Tuesday of the month. Alan, if you can pop that in, please. You can register at therock.com/masterclass or therock.com/VIP. And you can take the class for free. And you can pay the $400 after that class. But if you do it right now, you'll get access to the online version of the class. You can start watching it over the weekend. You can watch it anytime you want. And the biggest bonus right now, when you become a specialist today, because this is through Solveres, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a 1-hour live Zoom with me on how to leverage this as a recruiting tool for Solveres. So whether you are wanting to recruit realtors to your team, whether you are wanting to recruit people into your Solveres downline, whether you're a nonprofit that wants to recruit more volunteers. When I was in network marketing, I had a team of 10,000 plus people, and I personally recruited 131 to create that team. So there are specific ways of how to pique people's interest, and even more importantly, how to start a conversation around social responsibility that is not salesy or icky or pushy or bait and swish, just a way to create a beautiful conversation with them. So, and I also I'm going to stop presentation. I want to answer any questions that you might have. Another bonus that I'll give you is that we've got the book. The book, if you buy it online, is $25 plus $5 shipping and handling. Anybody that becomes a specialist today will also get the book as a bonus, autographed from me to you. Questions? Comments?
All I could say is, wow.
I will say this. I took the class about 2 weeks ago, and I've been in real estate longer than God. And I cannot believe what I learned in this class. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that Cami has joined us, and her and Alan have this program that's knocks it out of the parks, folks. And realtors and nonprofits are going to be very thankful in your counties that you got involved in this.
Well, this is Mark. I'd like to say something real quick. Bo, put your hands up if you can hear me, or just a thumb up if you can hear me. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Cami. That was absolutely incredible. As you know, I'm not near my computer, but I thought it was an incredible presentation, and what an asset and a contribution to our company. You just took our nonprofit solution to the moon, and I just couldn't be happier or more excited. It was just a great job. I'm going to go back on mute because I'm here to farm, but I loved it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. And for those of you who are thinking, well, how do we order this? How does it work in my Solveres comp plan? This is so new to your company that it's not attached yet. But here's what I'll promise you. It doesn't matter. If you just go to our PayPal or go to our Venmo and do what you got to do to get this rocking and rolling, we will make sure that next week when Micah and I have a chance to talk through what does this look like and getting it put in, it will be added into your comp plan. You will get percentages. So just to let you know, and I don't know how to explain it, we'll explain it to you later, but there is a 30% affiliate fee that then trickles through your organization. Mark can talk about that more if he wants to, but you do get compensated for bringing people to the table with this, not only for the master class and getting your specialist, but we will also talk to you at the master class about how to become a charitable real estate champion, which includes an ungodly amount of training and support and live coaching. And included will be for Solveres this special recruiting that I'm not giving to anyone else, the training around that. And also when these transactions happen, when the donations happen, there is a way for you to get a little piece of the pie at the end of the rainbow. And Mark, if you want to talk about that, or we can talk about it another time.
Actually,
You
I'd like
can't
to I'd like to jump in on that. So there's three areas of income from Cami, and she just talked about two of them. And the third one is when you refer a program that goes through to benefit the nonprofit. And if you had a property that is a little less than $1 million in equity that goes to the nonprofit, that's a tremendous commission. And in fact, I gave an example of that in the last meeting. And that the breakdown of what you earn is on the website right now. If you go to the compensation plan and look at retail sales, this is all laid out there on what the procurer gets, the procurer sponsor, and then 8 levels deep, and it's all there. And on the one example I just gave, it could be $1,500 to the person that, and Cami does the heavy lifting. All you have to do is make the connection. Okay, back to you, Cami.
Cami, I have a
you, Mark.
question, if I may.
Absolutely.
My name is Greg Gill. Do you utilize a charitable remainder trust structure at any part of your transaction?
When the donor comes to the table and they have a property and it is a qualified property, meaning the only qualifications for property, it can't be a timeshare. It has to have enough equity to make it worthwhile for everyone involved. And it needs to be marketable. In other words, it can't be that abandoned gas station out in the middle of nowhere. It can't be that property that has got, radon contamination. In other words, it's marketable property. We introduced them. We
We're
introduced
visiting,
Mark. Mark, you need to put yourself on mute. Oh, I got him. Okay, Gregory. So to finish this, we introduced them to the specialized nonprofit. They are the ones that help the donor make a decision as to how they want all of that to work out. But ultimately, the 30,000 foot version is when the donor donates, they donate to the specialized nonprofit. So in other words, they're donating to a 501c3, which is why they're getting the tax deduction that they so desperately need, but that they can't get from the Boys and Girls Club, etc. The 501c3 that we've partnered with is also the one that can pay off mortgages. And if there's some kind of charitable remainder trust that needs to be done, or some kind of donor advised fund, or if they want to split it up between 2, 3, 5, 10 nonprofits, all of that happens on that level with the specialized nonprofit. So this isn't about charitable remainder trust, but that can certainly be part of the conversation for them to have in private with the specialized nonprofit.
That structure gives the donor the maximum benefit tax-wise, and any appreciated asset, whether it's stocks or real estate, you get the maximum benefit using that charitable trust. I just was curious if that was part of your program.
Well, we have a saying, Gregory, do what you do best and refer the rest. And you guys are going to hear us say that all the time. So what I do best, what the Real Agents of Change do best, we are the megaphone, just letting the 99.9% of people who've never heard of this know. Charitable gifting of real estate. Your nonprofit qualifies. Your real estate company can get paid. You as a donor have all kinds of choices, like charitable remainder trust. So my job is to let people know and to bring deals to the table. It is our specialized nonprofit's job to share with them all of their options and choices after that, if that makes sense.
No, understood. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for asking. Thanks for coming, Dusty. I know you have to sign off. Bruce, do you have any questions? I know you've been, getting excited about this. Does this give you more food for thought?
Well, you know, Cami, I'm gonna do two things I never do. One, keep it brief, and number two, tell you I could listen to you talk about this all day. But I got to go blast off a bunch of text messages and social media posts because I know of three charities this year. One had to cancel their golf tournament as a result of lack of sponsorship, and the other two just barely pulled it off. And so I'm going to connect with them, and then I want to get them connected with you, and just change the landscape of nonprofit and charitable giving, you know, here in Erie, Pennsylvania. So thank you very much for taking the time. It was an incredible presentation.
Well, you're welcome. And we do have a really simple social media meme that you all can share. And by the next time we do the master class, we'll have something more comprehensive with maybe a co-branding with Solveres or something that you can put out. But if you do want something, just put your information in the chat, and Alan and I will grab that and make sure that you get something, even a line or two that you can send out to nonprofit, to realtor, et cetera.
Yeah, I would like that, please.
Okay.
My intel's in the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Rick, I saw you had your lineup, hand up. It's good to see you, buddy.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Cami. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Mark. I do have a question. You said you're in Florida right now on tour, and I'm actually here in Merritt Island, Cape Canaveral. Love to catch you on your tour while you're down here, while you guys are down here. Do you have a schedule that's on your website of where you might be? And I'm going to go to your website. I'm going to go look at the master class, and there's so much to learn here. And I'm grateful for your time today. So thank you for sharing everything.
Well, thank you, Rick. What is your industry?
Well, I'd been in real estate for 20 years, Bo. That's how I know Bo. That's how, but I actually work with Dusty really closely and Steve in Pono Quest. And I run a charter boat, and I teach people heart-centered leadership. So
Wow.
that's what I get to do for the rest of my life. All I get to do is play with my friends, have a lot of fun, and sharing all the energy, and go fish in the Bahamas.
Well, it sounds to me like you're going to be a stop on our tour. So to answer your question, therock.com/events will show you where some of the places we're going. We're actually going to be going down to Port Charlotte. One of the nonprofits we know is a gentleman that is a quadriplegic, and he is brilliant. He actually has created a yacht that has wheelchair accessibility. And a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be going down there and setting up to have a table to share with that yacht club where the boat's going to be, how this works for his nonprofit and all of theirs. We've been on the West Coast the majority of the time, but I do have people on the East Coast, and I'd be thrilled to set up some events with you where we're coming, and whether we just get real estate people together, whether we get financial services people, nonprofits, or do one big event with all of them. We have an event coming up with Goodwill that's kind of on the hush hush until we get the marketing piece put out, Easter seals. And next week I've got something going on in Sarasota. So yeah, that's where you can go look. And any of you, if you want us to do a Zoom, we can do a presentation like that. Or if you go to therock.com/101, which Alan will put in, there are 4 20-minute videos, actually 3 20-minute, 1 10-minute. One is for nonprofit, totally for the nonprofit. Friends, we need the nonprofits to know we don't want their donor list. We don't want to take over their fundraising. We're not suggesting that they stop fundraising and only do this. Like, the nonprofits need to be really gently held. So there's a nonprofit presentation. There's one just for realtors. There's one for donors. And then there's one about social responsibility. So feel free to go watch any of those. And if you want us to do that kind of presentation for your group, just reach out. You've got our contact info now.
So Vanessa, you have your hand up. What's your question, darling?
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Not a question. I do want to just tell Cami, thank you so much. The variety of help that this presents, it's just amazing. It's
Well,
absolutely amazing. This is what we need. I work with a lot of nonprofits. I do a lot of volunteering here in Savannah, Georgia. So I will definitely be reaching out to you. And thank you so much. The presentation was phenomenal, and I really enjoyed it.
well, you're so welcome. And Vanessa, when I heard you're doing something with Juneteenth, I was hoping you'd be here because, you know, we're not suggesting that any of those nonprofits not do their current fundraising. What we're saying is just add this, add it on the flyer, add a little symbol. Hey, we can benefit from real estate. Hey, listen, everybody's got their button on their website, donate here. You know, some of them are even taking crypto. So if you think about it, nonprofits will take credit cards. If they have a button on there that will process Visa, MasterCard, etc., they're processing the credit card. Credit card is cash. That's the 3% that we have access to. Imagine now all we are is the processing for real estate. Credit card processing, awesome. Cryptocurrency processing, awesome. 43% of our wealth real estate processing. And let me give credit to Alan Biles for coming up with that analogy because it's absolutely perfect and spot on. Alan, you got anything to say I know we've been here over an hour. I just want to make sure we all get our questions answered.
No, honestly, I'm just going to leave it all to the superstar, you.
So, hey, I see Bill Sweeney's on our call, and Bill hasn't been around for a while, but he's been around for a long time. Bill, do you have anything you want to say?
Hi, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you. I've been loaded with meetings this morning. Everyone has an excuse, but excuses don't count. I understand that, but I'm just pleased that I have the opportunity to join up and learn from you, see where the company is. I've got 5 companies going, so I'm pretty busy, but I've really gone over your website, and it's interesting with Miss Cami talking. I didn't follow the conversation, but we all have networking opportunities. I know I'm hooked into grant writers that work with about 30,000 nonprofits. So a little bit to learn, and Bo, thank you. I know you'll support me and catch me up to speed here, but the website looks awesome. It's all about networking, pushing people up, making money by helping them teach, educate others how to do better in their lives. So thanks for the invite, Bo.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. And you got to kind of thank Mark and Micah for a lot of that. We have done a lot of changes since you've been around. One thing that you might have missed, Tuesday, at your time, 2 o'clock, I think it's 11 o'clock. No, it's 11 o'clock your time, is Cami's master class in this. It's about a 2-hour session. You ought to take it. It's free, and you'll learn. I took it about 2 weeks ago when we were talking to Cami about joining Solveres, and it knocked my socks off. It'll knock your socks off because you've got all these connections into all those nonprofits.
Bill, Bill, with all those grant writers, see, once again, we're not trying to put the grant writers out of business. We want to collaborate. We want to give options to people. Imagine if those grant writers who have all those nonprofits have relationships with, if they knew this was just another tool on their belt, if they knew that they could say, hey, you know what? While I'm taking the next 3 months to write this grant, here's another little something, something. And if they're part of Solveres, they'll be able to get that referral fee that Mark and I were talking about. So, in a full disclosure, in the Real Agents of Change, we were giving an affiliate for people who became a specialist and or a champion, but it was only on one level. And people kept asking, what about second level? And it's just too complicated. And it's just not what we do. Do what you do best, refer the rest. What we do best is teach about charitable real estate and, more importantly, social responsibility so that everybody's making money while we're making a difference. So now that we're with Solveres, we're going to let all of our people know, if you want compensation, I don't know if it's 5 levels down. I have to learn about it. But if you want past the first level, you got to come do this. And now you can also get a piece of the back end, which is something we weren't offering before. And that's where the big money is.
Well, and Cami, I'll tell you, and I won't take any time here. I'm just a guest here again, but over the years, I've been doing this for over 50 years now, standing up direct marketing companies, tens of thousands of people, and it's all networking. But every day, every week, every month, something new, something new and creative comes along that makes it easier or makes it possible in networking. And so even though we've talked to people in the past, if we learn something new, we need to share that with them again. We have a responsibility to do that. They can say yay or nay, but at least share it with them. But it's fascinating. I've already made a note for Tuesday to come listen. And thank you for that information.
Thank you, Bill. That's a perfect segue into saying this is a way to get re-engaged with people that you know. Hey, Bob, I know you're a veteran, right? You're always doing those poker runs. What if your veteran group could bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Hey, Mary, you've always loved those animals. Let's get together. Let's bring in millions of dollars. In other words, it's a great way to reach out to realtors, nonprofits, people who own multiple property. And you know what? Even if they don't have property to donate, even if they don't understand what we're talking about, at least you had a reason to pick up the phone. So thank you for bringing that up, Bill. My first book, Mingle to Millions, The Art and Science of Building Business Relationships, is all about how do you get in front of the right people and mingle as we are net web. You'll hear about that later. Bo?
Well, I think we're going to cut it off here in a minute. I want to say a couple things about, don't forget about Tuesday at 4:00 West Coast. That'd be 4:00 in the afternoon, 7:00 p.m. East Coast for our next Zoom day meeting. I think today's meeting was outstanding. Thank you, Cami. Those of you that can be at that class on Tuesday at 11:00 Eastern, 8:00 in the morning for us early birds out here on the West Coast. We look forward to having you and growing your team and helping you. And we've got a lot of things going on with the senior solution, with the real estate charitable stuff. I don't. Anybody else have any other things that they want to add, or I think we're done.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say a final word here. This is Mark. It was so nice having Bill and everybody on the call tonight or today. I'll tell you, we had a vision of where this company could go, but with the new people that are coming in, it's exceeded what I thought we were going to be able to do with Bruce and his insurance program. There's nothing else like it. He hasn't seen it in 34 years with Cami. And I just am so grateful to have a team. It's the sum of the parts. And that's all I have to say. I'm just so happy. So thank you all for being on the call.
Thank you, Mark. And I just want to say thank you to Jack. Jack reached out to me a couple of weeks ago. He saw what we were doing. He said, hey, this company that I'm working with helps nonprofits in real estate. I wasn't really sure what he was talking about, but that's what got me here. And I just want to say thank you to Jack for that.
That's excellent. Thank you, Cami. Everybody, enjoy your weekend.
Have a good long weekend, and come back ready to really hit it hard for the rest of September. It's September through about Thanksgiving is when it's the best time for our type of company. Let's go get them.
Okay. Thank you, Bo. Thank you,
All
everybody.
right, everybody take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.